Welcome back. You're watching Financial Planner, and I'm in conversation with Certified Financial Planner Sumit Vaid. We're taking viewer queries. We always love to do that. If you have any questions about what your investments are looking like, if you feel a little nervous about whether you're on the right track, we'd love to hear from you. Write in us at financialplanner@utvmoney.com. Puneet Devadiga has written in. He's emailed us from Doha, Qatar. He says he's 23, he's an engineer, he's been in Doha for about a year or so, and he's been working over there. His earnings are pretty robust, 65,000 rupees.
Yes.
And he says he can save 50,000 rupees per month. But here's the interesting point. Puneet, in fact, is like a lot of younger people that we speak with. He says that he has no idea where his money is going. So far, he has no investments. But the good thing is that he's woken up to the fact that he's making all this money and he's not really saving. So he's written in to us asking, look, where should I put my money? And here are my goals. His goals include having a home for his parents, getting married by 27, 28, and also getting health insurance, not just for himself, but also for his parents. So Sumit, when you look at Puneet over here, you know, it's a fairly representative case, especially when you talk to a lot of people 23, 24, earning money, spending money. I've done it when I was young, and I certainly went through a period when I wasn't saving. I was just spending it all on books and CDs and everything that I wanted. Instant gratification. Do you think that it's good, it's a great thing that Puneet has woken up to the fact that he's wasting money?
Especially at the age of 23. So we need to really compliment Puneet about it. From a 23-year perspective, your earnings are very good. Make sure keep doing the hard work and keep growing your earnings. Your potential to save is very good, and your attitude is very good. You're conscious about it. Usually people wake up by the time they're 30, 35, that's shit, I haven't saved. I think from that point, Puneet, go all the way. Interesting point is Puneet mentioned that, you know, he's an NRI, and what should NRI remember? I think first and foremost, as an NRI, Puneet, you need to decide how long you're going to spend your time in Doha. Is it a permanent kind of a fixture? Is your career dream, ambition is to spend time outside India? Because once you take a call on what's the status you want to really enjoy as NRI or a resident Indian or any other such status, I think then the clarity happens. So I'll explain slightly more what do I mean by this. So let's say Puneet says, I will continue to be an NRI. Now, if he continues to be NRI, then his income progression will be at a different, you know, gradient than he comes back to India. That means his saving potential is different. If his saving potential is different, then he can use this saving to articulate towards defined goals, the way he's talking about housing, etc. There can be few more goals he should start talking about. And because he's an NRI based in Doha, then there is also an opportunity for him to use liberal banking environment of his country like Doha and try and see if we can get access to other markets in much more efficient manner, being based in Doha rather than coming all the way and investing everything in India. So look at India, invest in India, but if you want to continue to be an NRI, then there's an opportunity to look at many other investment options which are only available to NRI being based in any other country rather than India. So these are two very important points which you want to really highlight.
Right, that's a great point over there, Puneet. Sumit rather. Yeah, guys have rhyming names. But I want to ask you, suppose, making the assumption that this gentleman over here wants to stay on in Doha for, let's say, the next 2 or 3 years, because he's still young, he might want to switch, he might go abroad elsewhere, maybe America, who knows. So working with an assumption that he's going to stay there for 3 years, where do you think he should be parking his money? Should he be looking at opportunities abroad, or should he be looking at India to sort of remit his money and invest here?
Actually, in a current environment where India as a destination is doing exceedingly well and should continue to do well in the given global world order itself, I think investing in India is important, but it should not be 100%, is what my suggestion is. You know, you should invest 75% in India because most of his goals are linked to India. For example, buying house in India. Now for that, best is get the money into India and invest it in India itself rather than going anywhere else. And whenever you think you're deemed enough, having enough money for house, you can take it and do that and then buy that house itself. You might even take a housing loan in India to try and expedite your buying of house itself, and rest 25% money if he can continue to invest out of Doha. Use the banking.
That would be helpful.
Yeah, because he gets access to some of the things which you don't get access to in India. For example, if I'm right, in Middle East markets, you can go and invest in dollar-denominated, you know, mutual funds which are investing in various other countries. So yes, India as a country is doing well. So is China. So is many other emerging countries. You know, you might have a look at them. Real estate globally is emerging out to be a good asset class because at some places it's got really discounted.
Right.
You know, if we can get access to some instruments which gives them exposure to real estate in a defined manner, which is yet not there in India, why miss the chance?
So basically it's 75-25.
That's thumb
At
rule.
least for now.
That's a thumb rule. And as and when he gets more certain about his staying out in other market like Doha, he can decide about trying to do something more. And this is the point which I'm trying to highlight more for NRIs, because many a time we have seen the early NRIs try and expatriate everything back.
These are the immigrants. People who moved maybe in the 80s, are those in your terms early NRIs? Who's an early NRI?
To me, an early NRI is something that 2-3 years into international markets.
Oh, that way. Okay.
So there is still a strong affinity to your country.
Sure.
Still, you feel comfortable by making sure money is in India or where somebody else is taking care, especially for youngsters, because many a time their money is being taken care by their family, like father, etc.
Yeah,
so,
in Puneet's case, in fact, I think the fact is also that his parents might still be in India, and that he wants to ensure that the parents are taken care of. So in that case, assuming he wants to build that home for his parents, which he says financial goals, is this the right time to do it, or do you think Puneet needs to focus on himself right now, make sure he has a contingency fund, make sure that he's invested 75% of his money in investments, let's say in India, and then get health insurance for himself?
Yes.
And then look at his parents. Where do the parents fit in this whole thing?
I think right approach for him will be, as you mentioned, to take the steps as per the financial planning approach, that plan your contingency or emergency first, because it's not only your contingency or emergency, it's family's emergency. He can articulate what can go wrong within his family, including his parents, and plan for it. That's always the best thing to do. Second, then after that is do his own risk planning and his parents' risk planning, in which life insurance is a must. And if he's based in international markets, try and see if he can get an international life cover.
Okay.
Because many a time they come up with a beautiful features which you don't get in India, like applicability, which is world over. So I think he should try and look at. I'm sure you get these in Middle East market like Dubai, etc. I'm not very sure about Doha, because we have heard many a time our clients mentioning that they've got very interesting international covers based out of international markets at a very cheap cost. So he should look at life insurances for himself, then go and do adequate medical insurance. So he needs a global medical insurance, because he's in Doha. He cannot have an Indian medical insurance only.
And he can't keep coming back in case he gets sick, though it's
Never
cheap, but don't think of coming back.
Yeah. Do not plan it that way. When you plan for exigency, which can happen any point of time, and he's young, as you said, there can be an opportunity for him to go and settle down in any other country. He should not miss upon that. For his parents, he should take it in India. There are some new products which are getting launched by various general insurance companies on the health insurance side, which insures old age. This is one huge lacuna in India. You don't have long-term care. If you see global experiences, Smriti, there you need maximum medical insurance or maximum medical attention as you grow older. And in India, by the time you are 60, 70, most of the insurance companies are not ready to touch you. Wrong. I think that's changing slowly. Look for those products which are going to insure you for a longer period of time. If you don't get one, then make sure you start doing systematic investment plan for this particular scenario, that what if my parents require some kind of a money, and do not touch it, and there should be a conservative allocation only in fixed deposits of a bank.
Okay.
Do not invest in any equity. So I think these two are very, very important prioritization for him. Once he gets this right, then comes his home, then comes his retirement, then comes his marriage.
Wow, you had a lot of points over there. So I'm going to see if I can quickly recap that before we take a break. For Puneet, because you're only 23, first focus that you have that contingency fund, put emergency money stashed away. If you have money for, then of course look at your insurance, make sure that you have life and health insurance, make sure your parents have that insurance. Out of your entire money, make sure you invest 75% in India, 25% look for opportunities within Doha, because you don't know if you're going to stay there for a while or move on. Well, Puneet, hopefully you'll be able to catch the clip online, so make sure you get the rest of the details online too. We'll take a break. When we come back, we'll learn about more terms that we'll be using, including what does it mean to have a NRE account. We'll talk about that after this. Welcome back. You're watching Financial Planner. We've come to the last segment. This is when we learn brand new terms so we can all sound awesome and smart. Sumit Vaid is in the house. The term we're going to learn today is NRE account. How is that different from any other sort of bank account? So Sumit, is there a difference between NRE account, NRO account? We hear this all the time.
Yep.
Do I need to know it if I'm living in India? Do I need an NRE account?
If you're living in India, it's not of high importance to you, provided you do not have any ambitions, dreams, or goals of going abroad. It's basically meant for NRIs who are staying out of India. For them, they can operate these two kind of bank accounts. One is NRE, which is non-resident ordinary, NRO, sorry, non-resident ordinary, and the other is NRE, which is non-resident expatriate kind of account. Now, NRO account is basically meant for that kind of monies which once come to India remains in India. It never goes out. You don't take it out and into the country in which you are trying to do. So a lot of people keep getting money into India and then buy properties and want to retain properties here itself, and whenever they're traveling in India they want to use this particular bank account to do their dealings, etc. itself. So that's NRO. NRE account is meant for those monies which come into India but which has the potential of going back. So let's say if you or me or any of us settle abroad and we want to come into India, access Indian stock market or real estate market for investment, and at one point of time say, okay, now enough, I want to take this money back for my usage. Now that's NRE.
But that's taxed. If I take the money out, is that taxed or is that not taxed?
That's taxed, and those tax laws keep changing for NRIs and different instruments at different point of time. Because you are taking money out of India, you will get applicability of tax depending on your resident country in which you have, whether you have tax treaty with them or not, what kind of instrument was this, whether there was a TDS element and all, which is in its all sense slightly complicated environment. But yes, you're right. NRE account, if you take money out, will get some kind of taxation figured on that.
And like you said, you know, if you're actually planning to stay on just in India, then these are things that you don't have to cram your brains with. But if you're an NRI, then you have to look at two different options, which is an NRO account and an NRE account. Talk to your banker. You'll have lots of ideas on what sort of an account would work best for you. With that, it's a wrap. We've run out of time. Sumit, great to have you. Thanks for coming in.
Pleasure.
Sumit Vaid is a regular guest on the show. If you missed the show, Cat is online, facebook.com/Smriti Rao, and make sure you send us emails at financialplanner@utvmoney.com. From the entire team here, goodbye.